Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Pro Cycling Manager 2020. This is All Rounder episode number 35. We're at the Tour de Finistère. Assignment already complete for the day. It was teammate. We worked at the front. We've got the exceptional evaluation for that, so now we just ride for ourselves for the overall race. That last climb, pretty much the only climb of the day. 4 riders went out the back. I don't think they're coming back. They're 3.5 minutes behind. The 7 riders in the break still have a 2-minute gap as we get down to 38k. Not going to be the easiest catch, but they've been away for a long time. So the field's going to be coming pretty hard, pretty fast. You get a little bit of climb here in town, and we're going to have to keep our eye out for that as we get into these final 26 kilometers. I'm hanging on out of 77, but I think it might be a little bit harder this next time through as we hit it again a second time. And yes, I'm blinking red. Better bring it on down just in case things intensify a bit more than this. We are seeing a split in the field now, 18 kilometers to go. It's yo-yoing back together again. There's kind of that big uphill section, and then you're over it. A little more. It's a fair little bit of undulation through this town. Still 47 seconds to those front 7 with just 12k to go. It took us what, 18 kilometers to pull back, about 1:15, and now we only have 11k to go. It's going to be tight. It's going to be pretty tight to those guys. Is it just me, or did we sit back a little bit? I think those front riders have sat up somewhat, and we are no longer catching them. There's a chance that the breakaway is going to win this today. Myself into a good position to attack, but not. It's the last little punchy section right here. 7k to go. 37 seconds. We still have not caught those guys. We're not chasing terribly hard. Okay, 6k to go. We'll gel up. 5.5k to go. 35 seconds. Set myself up for something on this. 30 seconds to go. There is a little uphill here. I'm going to attack at the base of the hill.
The lead over the pack is dwindling.
There's another hill to the finish line. I've made contact with the front group.
And they're off. It's going to be very fast.
So nobody else did, but I made contact. It's going to potentially get me a top 10. No, here comes the real challengers. Mataway, Hogue, Cosnefroy. But the breakaway does take the win.
He was certainly the fastest today.
I will miss top 10, but I'll still have a good placement. Oh, I'll miss the top 20, though. Still got 25, top 25. So 24th overall. I was right, seeing that gap was not coming back fast enough, and the breakaway claims the top 3 positions. The rest were swallowed. I think Shiano might have been one of them.
And here are the race highlights that
a couple other guys that finished there in that top 20, but the top 3, the freshest riders, stayed alive. Onto the Amstel Gold Race. One of 10 riders away. There's an 11th rider trying to bridge the gap and join us. And we've already opened a decent gap over the field. It's now hitting 2 minutes, so it looks like they are content with what we have here. Yetzi Bowl in the group. Bouchard in the group. Plankart is here, my teammate. DeVos is here. Sepp Kras. It's not Sepp, is it? Simon.
That's more than 2 minutes separating them.
It's a group that I'm a bit overmatched compared to them. And it's a World Tour race. I've won 2 of the first 3 World Tour races that I have entered in my entire career. But now, as we pull that gap out a little bit more, now back off. We're out to 4 minutes and 40 seconds over the peloton. Alright, but this is the first time that the assignment was not to work for the team, but to ride as a Barrador. So that does slim my chances out significantly unless the 11 of us stay away, just like the Tour de Finistère, where that breakaway did manage to claim the victory. That gives me a chance then, but more a chance at a top 5 and not necessarily at a win, because there are a few too many strong riders in this bunch. Plankart seems to be the only one who is not working, as there are 2 of us from the team here. I do have a -2 on the race day condition, not helping today. It lowers that flat by 1, it lowers the downhill by 2, it's lowering the stamina and resistance by 2 each. Those are all necessary attributes today. Belka Mollema has crashed and is out. Plankart here in the break has crashed out. In fact, 3 of the 11 have crashed out. Hardy and Bovenhoy have crashed out. So now we're down to 8 riders. So 8 riders and no teammate support here. Strategy for the day, 180 kilometers at the front. We're about to hit a third of the way through that, 60k in. Plankart's still actually coming. He's only a minute behind us. That's a good reason for me to sit on for now until he gets back. Grab myself some water. And Plankart has made it back. So we'll go back to work now and allow him to sit on. He's the leader today. 4.5 minute gap over the field. 176k to go in the stage. Let's go ahead and speed things up for a little while.
Interfere with the race.
And I'm the latest victim to go down right here on this corner. And unfortunately, I don't have guys with me, so we'll see if we can regain contact. I lost 2 minutes. Plankart went down and lost just over a minute. I'm only a minute away from the field now. My chances of getting back are very, very slim at this point. Let's give it a brief look, give it a brief go, and otherwise we'll have to sit up and rejoin Peloton and then focus on the race. I get to 123 of 180 kilometers, so 2/3 of the way through. Not quite to that 75% mark. I have pulled away from the field a bit, but I haven't necessarily pulled back any time.
Some team managers mustn't appreciate the fact that there is a breakaway, given that
The breakaway has pulled out a little bit more of a gap than it had. They're back out to 3.5 minutes, and it was down to about 3.25. So the time that I've pulled out is really keeping the break the same distance away. So if speeding up slightly, we'll pull it back. We're down to 2 minutes. I've only pulled back 10 seconds. Now, I have to sit up. It's unfortunate. And the weather's cleared. So back to the Peloton for me. Unfortunate that I A, crashed, and that it B, took as long as it did for me to recover and get back and move. I lost 2 full minutes and then was alone, where he had 2 other riders with him and lost just over a minute. Peloton's actually down to a... Never mind. It's yo-yoing. 90k to go. And I'm going to have my hand full because I lost a lot of energy through the 20 or 30 kilometers that I rode solo. Not liking my chances of any sort of result today. Unlike those previous 3, they had limited cobbled sections and were fairly flat. This one's got a lot of climbing. That's a bigger weakness for me. I can handle long, flat. Can't handle too many climbs. blinking red, which is fine. Trying to hang on and survive. A lot of my teammates are quite fatigued here, and they don't have the excuse that I had. I've never gotten a chance to recover. Heartbeat gets down to 140 every once in a while, but it's for just a moment. I expend, I gain, I expend, I gain, so I've kind of just hovered in that same zone for quite a while here. We're now under 60 kilometers to go. Gap's down to a minute and a half to the remaining 10 riders, and over that climb I drift backwards, but we should be able to slowly recover towards the front and even get back a little bit of energy. So far so good, managing that well. Front group has split. 7 of them are nearly caught. 41 kilometers now, just 3 riders remain away. One of the worst climbs is coming up here in just a moment. This is it. This is going to hurt my position quite a bit. Kroll is protecting me. Wow. Hello. Thank you. But he's not here. I don't know where he is, but apparently he's protecting me with his +5. There he is. Now he's caught up. 35k to go. A lot of yo-yoing in the peloton, and I'm drifting further and further back. Oh, and it just yo-yoed again. Back into it. This is one of the worst climbs remaining. Maybe the worst climb remaining. So if this group can regain contact, we can maybe finish with them, but I have very little energy. Kroll, the last one at the front. We're third group on the road. I've got nothing left in the tank.
This climb features some dreadful percentages.
Now we're equal on second group on the road. Come on. That climb. Okay, and now we're sixth group on the road, so that little split, that last little sharp climb there really hurt my position.
We've got 15 kilometers to the finish line.
Gel helped me out. I've recovered slightly here. Let's not get ourselves dropped from this group. Group A4 now. Second to last climb of the day.
The riders are entering the last 10
I've moved up ahead of some teammates positionally now. Kroll's still up there. But that's group A3. I'm now group A8. It's splitting ahead of us.
Watch out! A team leader is falling behind. Puncture.
9k to go.
To burn some energy to get back into the pack. There are just 5 kilometers.
Just the finishing climb to go. I don't have any energy for it.
There we go. The sprint is on. The riders are setting themselves up.
Just 1k.
Well, nobody can
Just a little
dispute that
energy
win.
here.
It
Alaphilippe
was
takes the
very
win ahead of
well-deserved.
Velens,
We're waiting for the tail
Kwiatkowski,
enders who
Hershey,
continue to
Schachman,
arrive.
and we come to that finish ourselves.
The riders are going through a very tough
Use that
portion with
sneak.
percentages above 10%.
300 meters. Finished 78th. Kroll was 63rd. Mobach was a group ahead of me, and I passed him right at the end. Or had been a group ahead of me. We caught up to him a few kilometers before the end and then passed him on the final climb there. Not bad considering. If I had not crashed when I was in the break, that race would have been very different. Position would have been much higher. I don't think it would have been competitive in any way. This was not a race built for somebody with a 67 mountain rating and a 68 resistance. But it certainly would have been better off, and I would have gotten more points for staying in the break longer. So, unlucky on the crash, but not on the result. Over the last month, been a little unlucky. My fitness peak ended, and in that time, I've had an expected race day condition of 0 for every stage. Yet, since that time, over the last month, every single stage or race that I've participated in, I've had a single race day condition of 0. And every other day has been either a -2 or a -3. Again and again and again. every time we've raced. We have 15 riders in the break. They have a minute advantage. I have a puncher assignment today, so the team is looking for me to get a decent finish, which I like. No actual expectation on placing, so a decent finish with a lead out could amount to something. Field is splitting hardcore right now. Let's make sure we hold position. And with 27k to go, let's pay attention to what's going on here. 51 riders for Miltfort and Creeder are here. Two faster riders at my disposal. I like that. We're just about to catch the breakaway as we approach the final 20k now. Field coming back together a bit. 70 riders, 80 riders in the peloton. Moback is up here.
The riders
He's
are
fresher.
with percentages above 10%.
15k to go, and we're already hitting the penultimate punch. And there's one more after this, so we're definitely focused on just that final little bit. Last rider, just about to be reeled in, and there you go. The breakaway is done. It's 9k to go.
10 kilometers to the finish
Miltfort
line.
right behind me. Moback right there. I want for Miltfort to follow me for now. I'm looking pretty good when other guys are not. We're seeing an attack at the
The
front.
teammates of the main sprinters are not handing out tickets for a breakaway, so the stage will end up in a mass sprint.
Gotta make sure we try to go with this move. We don't want to get left behind. I'm also knowing that it's not a good time to attack, just a bad time to get left behind. 6k to go. And Vermeltfort, unfortunately, is done. So he's going to switch his role. Moback. Go auto for you, buddy. At least I can get a little protection. Oh, I thought I already sat up. I did not. 4k to go. Got that strong position here. A lot of guys are very, very tired around me. 3k to go. So again, we're going to squeeze our way forward. There's a chance at doing something with this. 2.5k. Got that front foot. Not hurting myself. Full red bar right now. Okay. Start picking up the pace. 1 kilometer to go. And there we go. Final sprint. Pure sprinters are beating me, but can I grab a top 10? It certainly looks like I'm high enough to get that. Basca takes the win ahead of Luis. I do get a top 10. 9th place. Ahead of Case Bull. A real sprinter. Gibbons. Real sprinters. Beat them out. They must have been fairly tired. Ooh, big crash late.
Certainly some sort of incident. We're waiting for the tail enders who continue to arrive.
Good result. It's got to be worth something. Actually, could have gone even earlier than I did, but I certainly didn't go too late. I was the first one to go. I just was out sprinted.
And here are the race highlights that we've selected for you.
We got out front first. Couldn't quite hang on. Like that was a second place rider. It was. Luis. Alright, so 9th in the race is worth 18 points, getting me a third of the way to our next level. We've got some ground to cover. Early in the month of May, nothing else coming up for a week. Not exactly headed in a terribly good direction. That was Venendal, by the way. So the only other race in May is the GP Marcel Kint. About 200 kilometers. Bit of undulation, but ultimately sprint finish. I do, after we talked about it last time, finally have a positive race day condition. The first one in a month and a half, now that it's been a couple weeks since that last race. It's only a +1, but hey, that is better than nothing. I will take it. It does give me a sprint of 70 today, a flat rating of 79, puts the stamina resistance both at or above 70, so it's good. We have 12 riders in the break. They have a 3-minute gap. We've got a long ways to go till the finish, 137 kilometer. We're going to be cruising along for a while. I do have puncher assignment again, but only one rider working for me, as it looks like leadership for the team might be split 3 ways. I have an idea. I wanted to talk about PCM21 and what I would like to see in the Pro Cyclist mode. I think this could carry over to career mode as well, but I would really like to see it show up in Pro Cyclist mode in the near future. I think they are due for a rework of the training system. And it could be done, I think, in a pretty logical way that would be really clear and would be fun as a player to be a part of. Because for me, on Pro Cyclist mode, I know exactly how to set up the fitness calendar, and I do it on January 2nd. And then I don't touch it again the whole rest of the year. That's not an exciting element to the game. Right now, obviously, there is break or 3 settings of how hard you train. And then every time you level up, you choose where you're focusing those points. Now, I like the skill points. I think the skill points can happen periodically in the same way that they do now, and unlocking races, and I think that leveling system could stay exactly how it is. But I think completely redoing the attributes and the way that you level that up and the way that you train would be a very helpful thing. Now, here's my idea. I do think that in doing this, you're going to add a lot of realism. I think the training schedule can have same concepts of break and lighter and harder training, but as we see a little split here right at the front, a few guys attacking with 20 kilometers to go. We need to make sure we're staying put. And do I have any protection for Melt Fort? Get up here, buddy. Okay, I'm alone. I'm alone. Misu. Get up there. Join me. Colin. Join me. Please, please, please. I'd like to actually be able to do something at the end of this. It'd be nice to have Remote Fort back, but he's working with somebody else. Alright, so here's the idea. Training now becomes focused on stage racer, puncher, etc. And how hard you train, and when you take breaks. And what you're doing now is every attribute category, okay, like say mountain, you have your potential like we have currently, and you have your current rating like you have currently, but instead of having an overall XP till you hit your next level and then assign attribute points when and where they're willing to give them to you, you have XP for each individual attribute. So let's say you have a 55 mountain, you have an 85 potential mountain because you want to be a climber, so that all checks out. You're 30 points away from your potential, so it's going to be based on potential here, or at least a big piece of this. Okay, so you have 30 attribute points to go in that category. Your rate of earning is going to be based on how far you have to go. You get a bonus. Let's say it slows down as you get close, maybe within 10 points of your potential. So if your potential is 85, it slows down at 75. But when you're below 75, it should be sped up. And it should be scaled on how that's sped up, so you get there quicker. And maybe you start with most of your attributes lower by doing this, and I would like to see how that would work out. And I think it could work out. But let's say if you started all the way down at that minimum, at that 55, you're 20 points away from that 10-point mark. So you'd have a 1/10 of a point bonus XP for every day that you train mountain. Races, depending on the profile of races and how you do in those races, you could earn XP like you do now, but you earn XP towards attribute points. a few specific based on profile. So like today, it's long. So today you would earn stamina experience, and you would earn maybe resistance experience, and maybe earn flat experience, and maybe earn sprint and acceleration, or some combination therein where you could potentially pick up a little bit here and there depending on how the race is. If you finish in the front group at the end, but don't get anywhere near the sprint, did you do much sprinting? Probably not. Did you survive a long stage? Yes. So flatten stamina, gain some experience. If you finish at the front of a group and win a sprint, or you're competing for points classifications and you're winning sprints, maybe you're earning experience towards sprint and acceleration, if you see how that part would work in race. Now back to the training itself. 1/10 of a point extra through training for each level away from that 10 away mark. Meaning, let's try to finish this in the background if I can. Meaning you have, for 20 levels below, you have an additional 2 points of XP every day of training for mountain. As you get to, say, 60, you're now 15 away from that mark. And so now, oh, wait, I have plank guard. Nope, he does not have anything left, so never mind that. I don't have any other support, and I'm going a little too hard here. 1.5k. 1k. Ooh, hello, teammate. Oh, he's going to claim this win. Oh, he's gone too early. Here comes Baska, myself. This is crazy. See, Exxon takes the win ahead of Martinelli, Hader, Eekhoff. Oh, Eekhoff was here. Baska, boys, got 7th, so it's a good result. Especially considering I was a little distracted. Anyway, so you gain bonus XP. As you get within 10, it subtracts. So you're losing the gain, right? You're not going to lose XP on any given day. We could do that with age, and you lose points that way. And actually, maybe you do, right? Maybe that becomes the thing as you get close to your potential. There was a lot of riders that crashed on this. As you see the animation of them getting back up as they come on screen. They were back up many, many kilometers ago, but that's the way the animations work in the game. Anyway, so as you get within 10, you subtract 1/10 for each one. So you're 5 points away, you're in 80, your max is 85, you're losing half a point of XP. And to get to that potential, you have to keep working at it. So ultimately, it wants to keep you at about 10 away from your potential. And as you get older, it gets harder to earn XP, and maybe the penalties get larger, so it wants to push you to that. So if you were, say, an 82 climber at one point, and you're like Alejandro Valverde and you want to race for years and years, eventually it wants to make him into a 72 climber through that degradation. So maybe that penalty gets larger and larger, but it kind of finishes off about 10 away from where you once were. But now you focus training in categories like climber. So you're getting XP focused more on mountain than other categories. You get XP on recovery when you're training stage racer or time trial, so on and so forth. In all of that, the way that ends up piecing together is that I think there should be some sort of element of penalties for training the same category for too long. So maybe there's a cap on how long you can train a single category. You can't just train climbing all the time. You have to occasionally mix it up. Go train something else. Go train puncher. Go train time trial. And so that forces you to get out of your comfort zone every once in a while. It would just give the game a bit of diversity and a little more control in your hands on how you level up. The races are still a factor. How you do in those races is still a factor. But you see how the potential within areas becomes a thing. And maybe there's a way to address the potential through the original leveling system that we have now. Like I said, skill points are in there. Maybe strengthening that skill point group of categories. There's training arcs in there for specific race types. So let me show you what I mean by that as we wrap this episode up. By the way, this is all happening off the cuff. I just thought of it, wanted to talk about it. I'm really happy I did because I think we're going places. Long break from racing has us down to 85%, but we pick up another 18 points. All right, so skills. We have all these categories now. Okay. I would venture to say you add another couple areas to what we have now that have to do with arcs. You have kind of maybe a classics or specialist arc, and you have a stage racing arc. You have a sprinting arc or something along those lines. But ultimately what it comes down to is you have potential setup skill point. So you add a skill point to your climbing arc here in skill, and your potential in climbing goes up. Right? Oh, I'm onto something here. I should be developing this game. Maybe. Am I onto something? Let me know in the comments below. Get in on the conversation, and maybe if this conversation develops enough, we get enough commentary on this, we as a group, as a community, come up with a brilliant enough idea, we get a hold of the developer and let them know. And maybe, just maybe, they'll hang on to it because we are still in the window. Okay, I did watch in French with rough translation an interview that they did just before PCM20 came out that goes over their specific arc on how they develop the games. They're still at that stage where they gather data on this year's game. They have not started on PCM21 just yet, but they are going to be starting on it pretty soon, making the decisions on what they want to go into next year's game. This is the perfect time to get this out. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, and if you liked what we're heading to, be sure to hit that like button. We want to get some extra views, get some extra chance for comments, and definitely get involved in the conversation in the comments below. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.